What is up? What is up? We are back. We are back. Black in the building. What is going on? What is going on? Another day, another 10 cents in this bitch. Another Saturday. Another day off from the corporate plantation. If you had this day off, shout out to you. We are back. Black in the building. You already know who the fuck I am. I'm your boy, gracious host, Warren G, in the place to be. Been clowning sucker free since 2003, which means you can never finesse me. Don't give me the rhyming in this motherfucker. No, I'm just fucking y'all niggas. Shout out to everybody at the corporate plantation right now. It's a Saturday. It's kind of windy outside. It's a little hot. It got hot this week. It was like 100 degrees, man. So glad I ain't got to be out there on no bullshit. But anyway, shout out to everybody that's out there in the hot-ass sun getting ready to go to the corporate plantation. Shout out to everybody that supports black businesses. Even if black businesses, sometimes it's hard to get to them, but still go support them anyway, man. Because you can't wait to throw your money away with Gucci and Fendi and Louis. But when it comes time to throw your money and spend your money with your own people, it's always, this shit too high, man. God damn, nigga. Can I get a discount? Like, stop that shit, man. But anyway, man, shout out to everybody that's out there handling business, doing what you need to do to survive. Man, we're going to get into it today. Our topic is going to be what happened to Mikayla. What happened to Mikayla, man? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about her. We're going to talk about Lakeith Stanfield. We are going to talk about a variety of things, but the main thing we're going to talk about is how Mikayla Miller ended up dead in the woods, but nobody seems to know what the fuck happened to her. So we're going to get into that. We're going to also talk about the United Independent Compensatory Counter-Racist Code of Ethics, our counter-racist code. I kind of put Nick up, gained him up a little bit about the book and what it looked like. Because niggas be talking about all these books, but they can't never show you what the book looked like. So, I be trying to game him up. I gained him up with the Negro Project, the untold story of Margaret Sanger. So we're going to get into all that today. We're going to also talk about how this always relates to black people and who are really your allies and who are really there to help you and who's there to hurt you. So let's get into it, man. Let me just cut this clown ass shit down. God damn. Nick, man, what is going on, man?
What is up,
man, what's going on, Nick, man? Man, how was your week, man?
Same as always, man. Same as always.
I know you like, goddamn, like I said, man, last time I talked to my brother, he was like, man, it's depressing watching your shit, man, because, you know, and it is. I had to take a step back and look like, God damn. But I feel like that's my job to put it out there. Just like how I put out there about that cop. That FBI motherfucker was raping women in the FBI. Then he went to the Alabama State Trooper Department? He went to the Alabama State Trooper Department and he was raping women there.
Well, it's not your show. It's just life, man. Life's depressing sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So.
And why would you say that, man? Why do you think that it's like that? Like, from your perspective, why do you think that life could be that bad at times?
You got fucking stupid, crazy motherfuckers, man. Always doing stupid shit. So as long as, you know, people are dying and fucking getting shot and disappearing off the face of the earth, like, you got to talk about it. Man. Well, look, man, there's another thing I wanted to talk about, too. And I guess we can get into that right now. Hey, what's going on, Tosh? I see, my notification worked today. What's good, bro? She said, what's up, Nick? What's up?
Hey, I have to talk about this because you brung something up a couple of weeks ago. Remember that player from the NBA? Mm-hmm. And he was like, bro, he just said like one thing. They like suspended him and did all this other shit. Now, Lakeith Stanfield, I don't know if you know who that is. Mm-hmm. That's the dude from Get Out. Mm-hmm. That's the dude that was on ATL and all this other stuff, right? Well, he entered you watching and listen from the court. Hey, man, that shit is not fun, man. That's all I always talk about. If you have a desire to want to do other things, it's not fun. I'm gonna have to say this right now. And if you know your history, if you even listen to 5 minutes of Dr. Claude Anderson, that'll really make you mad and be like, what the fuck am I doing here? Y'all niggas owe me money. Mm-hmm. So I always give props to that. Man, well, Lakeith Stanfield was on Clubhouse. You know that app on Clubhouse. Okay, now, he entered a room. Now, the title of the room, I guess, was, it had something to do with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So he entered the room just to kind of get a perspective. So people started spewing anti-Semitic things, right? Now, I felt like that was a setup. This is just my opinion. I felt like it was a setup because it's like anything that is associated with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, more than Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it's always anti-Semitic blended in with him from my perspective. Because I've been listening to Farrakhan since 2009, bro. All his speeches on YouTube, 2009. Just been listening to him over and over again. And like one of my favorite ones, hey, what's going on, 066? One of my favorite speeches is the one where he's like, add it up. I think he got a white. And he's like, add it up. Then the second one is when he starts to talk about.
Yeah, you're talking about the reputation as far as him being anti-Semitic, right?
Yes.
Kind of like the DMX thing, man. Like you gotta throw a title on somebody.
Exactly. Okay. What do you think about him? Because allegedly he entered a room. Mm-hmm. You can't see these people. He entered a room and they spit anti-Semitic shit. They somehow, some way made him the moderator, right? Mm-hmm. And then after they made him the moderator, people was saying anti-Semitic stuff. We don't know who this was, but that's what was being said. And then all of a sudden they attacked him. He wasn't even the moderator of the room. That's like me and you. We going to the store and some niggas is robbing the store. We don't even know these dudes, but they not tripping with us. They just tripping with the store owner. But since they not tripping with us, me, you, and we both on Contact 13 News. Have you seen Warren? Have you seen Nick? Right. But when really, we didn't rob that motherfucker, and the camera will show we didn't say shit. Right. You see what I'm saying? So what you think about that?
I'll have to go back and educate myself about the situation, but it's the big picture that I'm worried about. That there's certain things and certain certain people that can't be talked about at all, and then there's black people that we could talk nonstop about, and we can keep killing them and shit like that. So that's my biggest problem is that I brought up the white dude from the Miami Heat a couple weeks ago about.
Remember that?
He just said an anti-Semitic joke, which, hey man, I don't even think it was a joke. I think he said some shit crazy, but why is there 0%
Tolerance
of that, but there's 100% tolerance of talking shit about black people? If you talk about shit about black people, you'll probably
get rewarded,
get a promotion. So,
hey, let me say this. I can say this, Tasha. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I'm definitely gonna talk about that because what you just put on there, we're gonna talk about this. I'm gonna remind me to read this. I just see what you put in the chat. That's very good, but we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Okay. Me listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, bro, he never uses a racial slur towards the white Jewish community, bro. I've never heard him say that. What he says is the white Jewish community that practices their gutter, dirty religion, meaning the Federal Reserve, treating every other race like slaves, giving them social security numbers, recouping all the money, funding both sides of the war with Hitler. People don't know that the Rothschilds and them, they were funding both sides of the war. This is documented history. They went behind the scenes on Jekyll Island. You know who found that out? Bertie Forbes magazine.
Well, wasn't Hitler a Jew?
Well, it had been said that was it, but the thing is, they funded both sides. So what he said was to those Jewish people who practice their gully, dirty religion, basically meaning you hide behind the real good white Jewish people that is about an even playing field. They're about prosperity for everyone. You hiding behind them and masking it. And you are very destructive in your teaching. You are very destructive in how you, behind every successful black person, there's a gully, vicious, backbiting, white Jewish person. These are facts. This is not no shit that motherfucking... When he says shit, I go look it up. I don't just, okay, he said it. It's a fact, bro. Think about it. Who runs the music industry?
Hollywood.
Who runs Hollywood? The white Jewish community. So why is it you think you want to show who the leader is? Talk shit about the person in charge. That's the person who runs everything. And it's no diss, but think about it. You want to claim that you're the original person. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Life is about debating. That's fine. I don't care about any of that. My problem that I have always had with any other racial group, particularly the white Jewish community, is when black folks start talking about we are the original man. Now that's anti-Semitic. That we're the real Jewish people. That's anti-Semitic. When we are the fathers of math and science, we're anti-Semitic. We're racist. We're this. We're that. We're this. But they can go and do a movie about Nefertiti, Cleopatra, and it's all white people. You see what I'm saying? Right. That's the problem that I've had. And I'm not saying that all Jewish people like that, but if you make one remark towards them, the whole community comes out. They tar and feather you. They besmirch your name. They try to chokehold your money. And then anybody that you stand next to, they scare the fuck out of them, so they won't even stand with you, like they kind of did with Nick Cannon. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem that I have. My problems are different because that's what I see a lot of the times. It's just like LeBron couldn't even recite a lyric from 21 Savage about him getting his Jewish money. They fined him and made him apologize because what's well known in the United States of America, if you know anything about history, Jewish bankers. That's well known. It's no diss. I'm just saying how they created that Federal Reserve, how they funded both sides of the war, killing other racial groups, having us injected into shit that didn't even have nothing to do with us, perpetuating shit behind the scenes that we don't even know what's going on until you go looking for it. And then when you be like, oh, well, this is all part of y'all wicked plan. And then you have other people like Benjamin Friedman. And there's a book called The International Jew I got it down there, by Henry Ford. And he talks in detail about a lot of the shit that they was doing. A lot of the shiesty shit that they was doing. And my thing that I've always noticed is you can say shit about everybody else, especially black folk. But when you say one thing about the people that hide behind the faith of Judaism, it's kind of like they're going to tar and feather you. They're going to destroy you. But Donald Sterling, Nigga. Fuck them niggas. Fuck Mac Jones. He's a nigga. Why you hanging out with him? I give them their lifestyle. They're niggas. Fuck them. They all niggas. Fuck them. They all niggas. I don't care. They're niggas. Don't bring them to my games. They're fucking niggas. No, I don't care. I give them their lifestyle. They're niggas. Did you hear what he said? Because that's what he said.
Yeah.
They took the team from him. They gave him his money. They gave him like $1 billion. I
was about to say, they paid him.
They paid him. Then they sold it to another white Jewish person.
Right.
But you want to tell me that it's an equal playing field? Man, get the fuck out of here, man. So when I listen to Farrakhan, I'll be like, bro, he goes in because the shit that he's saying are facts. If you read The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, I've said this a million times, Nick, everything that's quoted in there is from a white Jewish scholar. It's not black people. You have to actually go read the book. Most people, when they be like, he's anti-Semitic, those are people that don't even know who he is. They've never listened to his speeches. They never read any of his books. They don't know nothing about Farrakhan. They just going off what somebody told them. It's kind of like a motherfucker saying, man, did you get something from Santa Claus? And then he'd be like, bro, I ain't never seen Santa Claus. Don't you dare say you ain't never seen Santa Claus. He's coming. And then you'd be like, bro, that shit is not real. Yes, it is. Motherfuckers get mad at you for that shit.
Or Jesus.
Oh, God, please don't get me on Cesare Borgia. So it's like, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it kind of, it doesn't bother me, but it's just kind of like, damn, like you can't say nothing about that. I'm not talking about racial epithets and slurs, but they'll make anything anti-Semitic. But how could I be anti-me? Because in my belief system, I'm the real Jewish people. I'm the father of this planet. I was here first. The black man is the original man. That's why we was blessed with melanin. But once you know that, you be looking like, okay, well then, this is one thing I said one time to somebody. I ain't gonna get into the whole thing, but nigga, this is what I said. I said, okay, well if the Jews are the real people, right? And they were in Egypt land, right? According to the Bible. How did they survive? Because if I took white Jewish people and left them in Africa right now, they'd burn up. Literally would burn the fuck up. There was no sunscreen 5,000 years ago. So how did that work? You tell me how that works.
There was no PF30.
There were no fucking sunscreen, nigga. So, nigga, how could you survive in Egypt land with no sunscreen?
Right.
That motherfucker was like, and I'm like, okay, I'm just proposing a question because how's the Bible gonna start off there, right? That's in Africa. It's hot in the motherfucker. That's why those white Arabs, they cover themselves up. That's just not religion because they're not blessed with melanin either.
Right.
So when they get out there, they're going to be, I want you, Nick, when you get a chance, I tell everybody, go watch this movie called The Underworld. Mm-hmm. It's with Kate Beckinsale. Was the first one.
Yeah, about the vampires or whatever.
Yeah. That's racism in the whole totality of things. She was fighting a war that she had no idea what it was about. Victor, the eldest, the strongest, did not want the commingling of the bloodlines because the vampires would be extinct. Because the werewolves' genes were dominant. So you gotta look more into the movie than what it is. Think about it. That's why when he got Lucian, did you see all of them?
No, 1 and 2.
Yeah, you gotta see the rise of the lichens. Because Lucian, he was a werewolf. If you look at it, the vampires lived in mansions. Remember that. Just go watch it. They lived in mansions. They had houses everywhere, nice cars, drinking wine. Where'd the werewolves live? They lived in the fucking gully fucking sewers.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And in that movie, he didn't want the commingling of the bloodlines. And the first time I saw it, I said, this is some racist shit. And this was 2003. I'm like, this shit is racist as fuck. You'll go check it out. But that's the only thing I told the brother. I said, hey, man, there was no sunscreen then. So how was they surviving? Right. And he was like, oh, we don't know. I was like, okay. Well, then if that's the case, then why didn't the dominant society people here just build this country? What did they need black people here for?
Right.
That type of shit. But what you think about it, man?
I think the real problem is that Minister Louis Farrakhan wants to start up to where black people actually run shit like Jewish people. Keep it in-house.
Yep.
Keep everything in-house. Well, Jewish people make a lot of money off black people.
Facts.
So it's kind of hurting their bottom line. So it's like, on one hand, you want to be like, nah, man, maybe you should look at the Jewish community to see how they run things and start changing it. But at the same time, it's like they can't have their cake and eat it too. Like always, man, you can't sit there and only hire certain people that are outside your group. But then when it comes time for people to be like, hey, fuck this, then we're going to do our own thing. Be like, no. That's anti-Semitic right there. So,
But Nick, bro, you are 0.0000000.00001.0001 that think that way. The majority, especially of the white Jewish community, they don't think that way.
I mean, just today I was watching that video. Dr. Clyde Anderson, he says, I hate the term African American because every single one of us came from Africa.
Thank you. Broad, ambiguous term.
Right.
You see how you say?
Right.
Think about it. When you say minority, that's talking about white women too. That's talking about Asians too. They're minorities too. They women.
Yeah.
So you gotta erase that one. You can't say people of color because then we talking about the East Indians.
That dude's got a joke about it, man. He's like, so when a Jamaican comes in here and tries to, become American, they're like, all right, you're African American now. He's like, no, man, I'm Jamaican. He's like, you want to stay? All right,
I'm African American.
Man.
Yep. And that's what the thing is. And the reason why I say that is because, Nick, since the Derek Chauvin shit, how many black people done got massacred, bro?
A lot, man.
Isn't it crazy?
Yep.
And
that's what I'm saying. It's not your show that's depressing. It's the fucking world, man.
I said, and what about this, Nick? What about this too? Not only has that many amount of black folk been massacred, lynched, castrated, killed with impunity on TV. What political regime are we under?
Democratic.
Remember I told you this?
Yeah.
We had this conversation about 2 years ago, right. And you looked at me like, you didn't look at me like, at first you thought I was a Republican.
I was like, yo, man, like.
You a Republican? And I was like, nah, I don't fuck with the Republicans either, but I definitely don't fuck with no Democrats. They just as racist as the Republicans. And at the time, I get it.
They just hide it. That's all
how would you know? To me, how would you know or any other person know if they ain't read Black Labor White Wealth? If they don't be around people that kind of point out the fuckery, then how would you know that shit? You're not gonna know that shit. You're gonna be like, you're gonna go through life thinking like the Democrats are for black people, and if I'm for black people and the Democrats are for black, that's a shield. That's what I would call an illusion of inclusion. You know how they do you at the corporate plantation when they come to you and ask you what you think, when really they don't give a fuck about what you think. They're just asking you to create the illusion of inclusion because they know what that does is that sparks.
I'll go back and I'm like, oh, I had a part in the decision.
Yeah, and that sparks an interest in you to give more to a job that'll never give anything to you. See, those type of people that do that, those are the wickedly brilliant people that people like me know I don't get along with. I see them a mile away, and I'm only gonna watch you for so long. And either I'm going to get away from you, I'm going to tell you who the fuck you are, and then you just ain't going to like me. And I don't care. But that's just how I am because I don't believe in the progress of having friends. You've been around me long enough. You don't never hear me be like, oh, I don't hang out with people like that. Because to me, I feel like most people, they're on their own lane, especially when you get on the corporate plantation. I often think about when we're on the corporate plantation, wherever you worked at before, what have you ascertained from there? What did you learn? Because me, you know what I learned? I learned to stay true to me and that I'm a business. And you can't allow people to you can't be a gluttony for punishment and just let a motherfucker just keep super socking you at the corporate plantation in their own way. Because that'll translate to real life. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, if you don't see that, that's why I was telling you that shit. And if you notice, I wasn't bombarding you with it. I would just drop little jewels every now and then. You'll be looking at me like, man, what? And I'm like, man, you need to read this book. You never said, you never said that. You just be like, oh, okay. Because a lot of people be thinking I be bullshitting. But I often say this, any other racial group, if you want to be an ally, first thing you need to do is you need to know why you're being an ally. You got to know why. Right. You can't just be an ally just because your friends have, why am I doing this? Let me start reading these books and understand why am I doing this. Then as you read books like White Fragility, now you're going to start calling yourself out because you're going to be like, damn, that was some bullshit that I said. Mm-hmm. Some people are very conscientious of what their actions are, and they'll check it right away. Some people are not. But that's up to me, black folk, to nip that shit in the bud and check that shit, whoever you got around you.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Right, because a lot of times we don't see it, man. And so you gotta be like, hey, hold up real quick. Just about that thing you just said real quick. Like, what you say? Because then it's like, oh, wait, hold on. And then you start thinking about it differently, and you're like, oh, yeah, I guess that was fucking racist as shit.
Just think about this, Nick. Mikayla Miller. Now, Mikayla, her untimely death. So funny. She get into it with her dominant society partner, I guess, that she was fucking around with, whatever. And then I guess, I don't know what happened, but what they're basically saying is they got into it, and then later on the next day she was found dead. Now, here's my thing. Do you know there was some on Unsolved Mysteries where this black brother, he was like black and Samoan, and he went to a party with his white friends.
Oh, I seen that.
The
shit
white
on
friend. I did a podcast on it.
Yep.
Then the white first. That's not your friends.
They left them.
That's not your friends. That is not.
They left them.
That
in
is
town
not
like
your. Yeah.
2 hours away or some shit.
But that's not your friends.
I was gonna go back to that. How many friends of anyone's would go to jail for you? You know, there's a thing. You know, it's nothing about race, but there's a thing on a show that Bob Saget said one time. This dude's trying to become his like manager, agent, whatever, and he's like, if I killed a hooker in the middle of the night and I needed you to help me bury it, am I gonna call you up and you're gonna come and tuck me in the bed and all? Like, he's basically joking, but yeah. That's the same thing how I look at friends. Like, how many friends are actually down for you?
Yep.
Not too many, because they snitch on each other all the time. As soon as they get arrested, it's like, oh, it was this motherfucker right here.
Just watch the first 48.
Right. But yeah, I seen that shit, man. They took him to the party, and he ended up like fucking. I think he ended up in the woods somewhere, didn't he?
Look, this is what happened. He went to a party with his white friends, a bunch of white people around. Of course, there's gonna be white women that like black men.
But like the whole town was in on it.
The whole town was in on it. So what ended up happening was he got into it with somebody because they didn't like the fact that nigga. They didn't like the fact that some of those white girls was on that brother. Mm-hmm. So he got into it with him. Well, they couldn't whoop him, so they wanted to jump him. So one of the friends kind of calmed him down. Oh, I'm gonna go get cigarettes. Those are not your friends, because they should have been like, no, you're going with me or I'm not fucking leaving, if that's your friend.
Right.
But they weren't his friend, because they all left him and he ended up dead. What happened was, whoever owned that property, they were in cahoots with those kids. Those kids killed that brother and stuffed him in a freezer. And then the family started doing their own motherfucking investigating, because they like, where the fuck is, because his black friend started snapping on all the white friends. Mm-hmm. When he got involved, he's like, y'all all full of shit. Same shit I would have done. So then they went back to that town. And when they went back to that town, they ended up finding his body. And his body was like it wasn't even decomposed. It was well preserved, which means somebody had him in the freezer. The whole town was in on it. Right. The whole fucking town was in on it. And ain't nobody go to jail. And all those people that was at the party, they all lawyered up. Mm-hmm. Every single one of them. And then his friend gonna be on there crying. You're not my friend.
Right.
Because if you're my friend, first of all, if you're that's what I don't like about other racial groups. Don't take me to no motherfucking party, or don't ever put black people in positions. And then black people, if somebody puts you in position, you snap, you try to break their motherfucking neck so they can know. And then don't fuck with them no more.
You talk about Remember the Titans all the time, where the dude's like, come on, man, let's go eat. No, it's fine. It's cool. He's like, man, all right, fuck it. We go in, and the scene happens. He's like, man, I fucking told you,
man.
You know what I'm saying? And like, if you're about to hang out with black people, man, you better stop looking at the world through your white eyes, because the shit that you see, like I said all the time, man, you get treated differently. You get treated differently when you walk in the stores. You get treated differently when you're getting pulled over by the cops. You ain't got to worry about shit. All of a sudden, now you got your black homeboy with you, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what, man? Let's not go right here,
man.
Because I have a feeling about these motherfuckers. You know, I made a mistake like this. I told Warren, I my very first day at my last job, the supervisor at the time described Warren in a way I was like, man, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? Like, who they put me with? Who's about to train me? And when I seen it was Warren, I was like, oh shit, man, I hope this ain't about no race shit. Sure enough, like 6-7 months later, they're like, hey, yeah, anyone that wants to refer any friends, go ahead, we need people. I'm like, all right, I'm not thinking nothing of it.
True story.
I refer my friend. She goes there, she has an interview, she calls me up, she's like, Nick, what the fuck are you trying to get me into? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, dude, this motherfucker sat there for 45 minutes just staring at me as if I was like from planet Mars or something.
And we know when we're being stared at.
And I was like,
crazy.
I told you, I said, I regretted even fucking telling her.
And you know why? It's because
she should have never went down for the interview.
Yeah. You know why? It's because it's our job to know who we're dealing with. Like I always tell the stories about Opportunity Village. The reason why I like to talk about Opportunity Village is because you knew where you stood.
The only thing is, though, I get that, but your white counterparts should take responsibility. And they, like I said, I knew that very first day that there was something off. I told you about it. I said, man, this motherfucker described you like you were crazy. I should have known. I should have been like, nah, man, Sheila, don't even come here. Like,
but the thing is, you're trying to help another black person, and at the time, sometimes we have cognitive dissonance, so we don't know. We trying to hurry to get this person on. We're not really tripping about the people that's in charge of doing the hiring. But after you get those type of examples, you don't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. That's like I said, man, when I worked at fucking Opportunity Village, I could have put people on, but my thing was always this. Before I even make Opportunity Village this luxurious job, I'm going to tell you what you're getting yourself into. I like the job. It was actually fun to me. Mm-hmm. But some people might not like it. So I was always mindful of like, hey, man, this is what you've been, it's cool. The schedule is bomb, so it's cool. And he was just like, a lot of my niggas that I knew at the time, just a long time ago, they would be like, oh, I fuck with it. But then when I started explaining it to them, they'd be like, I don't know if I want to do that. I'm like, well, the reason why I'm telling you is because I don't want you to walk off the job once I get you the job. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want us to be the stereotype. Because I'm like, it's a lot of niggas that work at the jobs, a lot of brothers and sisters that work there, but they're there for a paycheck. Mm-hmm. Because I really feel in my heart, Nick, a lot of black people, we're just trying to get in and get out for the most part. A lot of black people ain't going to no job to try to make no career, especially now because a lot of black people are very cognizant of this is racism, white supremacy. This isn't no career. I'm not moving up if I move up the corporate, I have to prostitute who I am to do that. So why even do that?
I'm lucky that they just gave me this fucking
job at the bottom. And you know what? That's how a lot of those black people at Opportunity Village was, bro. They was like that, bro. It wasn't like, yeah, I'm trying to move. Bro, I didn't meet one black person the one that I did meet, he was a fucking Sambo. But that was later on in the job. The people that I worked with, they was all like, nigga, I'm not trying to everybody was just trying to survive, bro. Wasn't nobody like, yeah, Nick, on some Louis Anderson shit. First I started off mopping floors, then I went to fries. Then after that I went to, to flipping burgers, and that's where the real money comes. Right. Niggas wasn't trying to do that shit. Niggas was more on, I'm just trying to survive. Which brings me to my point, and I'm glad Tasha put that in the chat, which results and relates to what she's saying and what I want to talk to you about too. Economic empowerment for black folk. Man, me and my sister, right? My family, like I said, when my mom was alive, RP to my mom, we used to have these conversations every weekend. Every weekend. And I used to always tell them, these people are lying. It is not hard to buy no house. It's not hard to build your credit. These niggas be lying. But I joke so much, you don't know if I'm telling the truth or or just trying to make us feel better. Right. I'm telling you, these motherfuckers, because once you get on the inside, you're like, dog, they full of shit. These niggas is lying. Now look, let me read this. My sister's like, hey, off subject, but I got a new credit score today. I went from 540 to 675 in 1 month. Tasha, haven't I been telling y'all niggas that for years? But I joke so much, and it's so much. When my mom was alive and we go to my mom's house, it's so much going on, bro. It's 6 of us. It's 6 of us. Well, 5 of us because
What is that, over 100 points? Say it again. 5?
Yeah, 540 to 675.
Oh, my God.
Now, check this out. Now, when we would have these discussions, it would be so much going on, though. Bro, I got little sisters, I got nieces, I got nephews, my mom's got rah. You know, it's so much going on. It's the West Side. Is you know is hookers outside. Is niggas outside getting their dick sucked by hookers. Like literally, my mom literally had to tell this trucker dude. He was in this big ass truck, and she had to tell this nigga like, nigga, if you gonna be getting your dick sucked, nigga, I need 10%. Or nigga, you can't do this shit over here. That's what used to go on over there. So it was so much going on. So when we would kind of talk about the serious shit, you know, we would kind of skim over it. But most black folk, including me, you'll talk about it, but at the time we would talk about it, but then we would go into other subjects. But we would talk about money a lot, and we would always talk about how we would say the dominant society, but we would always be like, white people, man, like they know they got all the money. They know what's going on. They know we need help. We get on the job. You can't say boo. You can't get no equity line of credit.
Right.
But if a white person walk in, we used to always talk about that. And I remember one time we was all talking about money because my mom worked at this bank when alone like in the 70s. Tasha probably remember this shit. And she was like, my mom, what used to irritate us about my mom is like my mom had all this game. She knew about the Federal Reserve. She never even told us this, but she knew. She knew the Federal Reserve was not the federal government. She worked for the bank. She knew all that shit. Like, oh, if you put over $9,000, if you put $10,000, they make you fill out all these forms and the IRS gets involved and all. She knew this in the 70s. And then when we would talk about it, she'd be like, oh, you know, I remember one time my mom was like, yeah, credit ain't shit because if you got cash is king, which is true. But she was like, but if you got credit, you could leverage it. You can use it for shit. See, but we had so much going on, we wasn't really paying attention. I remember one time I'm like, man, these niggas be lying, bro. You can get your credit up like that. Right. They got you know what they had black people thinking? This no lie, Nick. Pay all your utility bills and pay everything on time and your credit will go up. No, nigga, that's not, no, they don't give a fuck about you paying no Nevada Power. They'll just put you in collections. Right. That's easy. You go to collections court and get that taken care of. Right. No, get you a credit card. I don't care what credit card it is and your shit'll go up in before it used to be 90 days. Like 90 days. Now it's every month.
Right. I racked one of my credit cards up to like $1,000 one time. And I ended up paying it down to like $500. I paid like $500 on it.
They increased your credit limit.
It went down. I just bought the condo. It went up.
Yep.
Like 75 points.
Because you know why? Because you created more debt for yourself.
Exactly. The more debt you have, that's where they want you. They want you in this certain bracket of debt right here. If you go exceed it, it might go down. If you go below it, it'll go down. But they want you in debt. And house debt is good debt to them. Yep. But it's funny you say that, man. I was just watching. If you go on YouTube and you look up the Indiana Black Expo 1993, Tupac is talking about it, and they actually have a very small clip of it in Tupac Resurrection, but it shows the whole thing. And he's basically saying that, man, it's sad because my mom knew all this shit that's been going on in the 70s, and she never told me.
Man.
And so now all of us are growing up with this like hope. And all of a sudden we're like, oh shit, we have to learn about it the wrong way. Instead, you could have just told me from the very beginning, and we could have went out in the world with our eyes open, and we kind of went out in the world with our eyes closed.
Now,
it's kind of funny you said that.
Now, my question is this: with my mom telling us, we were all grown, we didn't even really listen then. So would we have listened? Who knows? Maybe if our mom would have been social, maybe if Pac's mom would have had, like browbeat it into him. It would have been second nature. It's like the white Jewish community. They're teaching their kids at 8, 9 years old about stock, bonds, 401k, mutual funds, savings plans, savings bonds, you know, how you gonna leverage your credit and real estate. They're teaching their kids that young.
Yeah, but
you see what I'm saying?
It goes even before that, bro. Because I'm not saying all Jewish people, but they go to what's the school?
Adelson.
Yeah, but they go to their own schools.
Yeah, like Adelson, right. That's a Jewish school.
Right.
Yeah.
They surround themselves with just Jewish people from the very
beginning. Yes, from the very beginning. And then when black folk want to do it, we're labeled racist. But as Dr. Claude Anderson teaches, black people cannot be racist. Racism is about power, resources, money, and black folk ain't got no money. Because if that's the case, then where's the billionaires that's told that they could have said, fuck Sonia Redden or whatever the fuck that owner is of CBS or Viacom. Fuck him, Nick. You can come over here and you can create your own show and fuck them and we can battle in court. A real boss would have done that. They'd have been like, They would have done what Master P did for Mystical. You know, they would have done that. But nobody want to do that because people want to stay away from that shit because they're so afraid of their plate being knocked off the table. So they just gonna sit there in silence and let him get publicly humiliated. But my question is, I love Nick Cannon, but my question is to everybody else, instead of y'all being mad and disappointed at Nick Cannon, stop taking these people, these celebrities, and making them gods. And you need to understand that they're human beings too. They make mistakes. Think about it. What would you do? I pose this question. What would you do if a job threw hundreds of millions of dollars at you or millions of dollars at you and told you you can go help all your family? You can go help all your family, all your friends, and we're going to keep throwing money at you. We just want you to come to work every day and do that same job. And throw. You're not thinking about ownership. You're thinking about, I can help my black people. Right. So black people need to stop with all that. And on the other side, we need to stop acting like we are bosses and be like Warren and say, I work at the Court Plantation too. That's what we need to start doing. Right. You see what I'm saying? So I look at both because it's like, when you are solely independent, you can literally say whatever the hell you want to say, but there's a price that comes along with it. That's why they don't like Tariq Nasheed, but Tariq Nasheed is a very, very intelligent brother, man. Mm-hmm. Like, the brother is beyond intelligent and focused. I've never seen somebody so focused for so long in my life. Like, this dude is focused. His movies are very detailed. On top of it, what he says and the information that he has is on point and on key with what we go through in everyday life. But my thing to everyone else is, how many people are really taking stock and inventory of what that brother's doing? What he's doing is monumental. Nobody even sees it as monumental. You know why? Because in my opinion, too many black people want to hate. They don't like it because it makes you check who you are. Right. You see what I'm saying? Motherfucker, oh, well, what he doing with that money? He making money off of racism. Who gives a fuck if he making? I want him to make money. Make as much money as you want because you want that same energy to come to you if you were ever in that position. Right. But I think we don't look at that because we're too busy looking at the glitz and the glam. And that could be a very big distraction. And I think that's why with Nick Cannon's situation, when he interviewed Professor Griff, I still think and believe that is his belief system of all the books. But I just think that our brother was excited about the knowledge that he learned. And I think that he was just trying to help his people. And I think the white Jewish people are always on code. And if anybody says anything contrary to their belief system, they label you anti-Semitic. It's just like the LGBTQ, LMNOP, XYZ community. Soon as you say, man, I ain't with that more shit. Oh, you homophobic. No, nigga, I'm not afraid of that. That's just not what I like over here. You're not gonna force feed that down my community. That's see.
I see. But try to explain this because maybe I'm not seeing the whole thing right now. So it wasn't a problem with Kodak Black's lyrics, right?
Yeah, because what did Kodak Black say?
I'm just saying because Snoop and his son have the same thing about getting Jewish money too. Like the whole thing is like, oh yeah, get that Jew money, get that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And then,
I don't know.
But you know what though?
It's like it's okay to sing it and make the money for him, but it's not okay to quote the line.
But you know why? Because Snoop's influence is different from Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon has the voice of the people, the young people. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. White Jewish people, they can't have young white and black people because this is the thing you have to understand too, Nick. All you did, instead of you arguing me down and looking at me upside my head, you just went and got the books. Mm-hmm. Because in your mind, you like, I'm gonna read this book to see what he really on. I wish more white people would do it, but more white people don't want to do it. I'm not saying that black folk just want to go read books either, but what I'm saying is when there is a discrepancy in a belief system between black folk and white folk always want you to go read about Pythagoras and Aristotle and Socrates. Mm-hmm. But when you tell them to go read a book like Stolen Legacy, where Socrates and Pythagoras got all their shit from, they look at you like you crazy. Or they tell you things like, oh, but Pythagoras, he made up math with a sundial. Nigga, what? If you look at geometry, it's all angles. If you look at geometry and you look at the pyramids, that makes total sense. That's why it didn't surprise me when I was like, oh, no wonder he got that from black people. Look at the pyramids. Why do you think they want to Arab and Eurasianize the pyramids? They rather Egypt be separate from Africa and it be Arabs and not black folk? But clearly we know what it is. The land of the black. Kemet. Chem. Come on, man. Like, and that's what they don't like. That's why a lot of books you can't get on Amazon. That's why a lot of books are so expensive, to deter you from wanting to know what's going on.
And plus it goes against everything they've spent the last 12, 13 years in school learning about. So
facts.
They're like, well, how are you smarter than the education system? It's almost how they look at you. You
Exactly.
know what I mean? Like,
do you know that algebra is al, which means the, and jabra means equation? Like, people don't even know, like, they're teaching shit that didn't even come from the United States. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Geometry, when you look at geometry, the only thing that fits geometry is the Luxor. And I love how Vegas just took the Luxor and the ancient Egyptians, and they just took our shit and just put it over there. And it's like, because they romanticize and fetishize black history, melanin, all that. They study this. How many times have you heard me say on every podcast, bro, you don't think that white people are studying voodoo? You fucking must be crazy, nigga. If you don't think that's what why you think that? Here, you take Cesare, and I'm going to take this. You take that, and I'm going to take this. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of white people that study that shit in Louisiana.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Why would they not?
Right.
They know that's where power really comes from.
Right.
Why would they be studying Cesare? They know no power come from no fucking Spaniard. Come on, man. They know that. That's why they, in the back, why do you think they did Child's Play? And oh my God, after you seen Child's Play, you wanted to run away from voodoo because you just thought voodoo, they did their job. Very, very intelligent. I'm going to make it where this is the most scariest religion ever.
But why though?
Because that's where the real power is.
Well,
if I can scare you, you'll never return to what you created.
No, I get that. But like, why do they want to scare you? It's because, you know, I forget where I heard this. Maybe you said it or something, but it's like it makes you a good slave.
Yes.
If you think that you have to be a good person in order to get to the afterlife, whereas they're like,
I did say that. Ain't that
yeah.
a bitch?
So,
but ain't it a bitch though?
Well, if you know that you can literally kill 20,000 people after you die if you have revenge, they're gonna be like, oh, well, he ain't gonna be a good human when he's here. He's gonna be trying to fuck shit up and doing the opposite of what we want. So let's print this big ass Bible and tell them like, hey, be good, treat everyone kind, and don't go against us.
And then you'll be okay. It's like this. In the price for a pound of flesh, right? Man, when they had killed Nat Turner, they was passing his skull around like a fucking LeBron James rookie card from Upper Deck. That's how they was treating him. Motherfucker, the medical community couldn't wait to get their hands on him because white people felt like, well, let's study his brain because why would he want to go against slavery? So we need to see what's going on. Something has to be wrong. His hardwiring is fucked up because why would he want to do that? That's what they thought. So let's just study him, not bury him, let him rest in peace. Because they didn't even view black people. They viewed black people like werewolves. They viewed black people like a domesticated primate. You know, they view, I don't know what book that was in where it was one black person. They had him in a goddamn exhibit in a museum because of his attributes. It was a sister too, because she had a big ass and big titties, and they white folk, they couldn't understand it. So they just kind of had her in an exhibit like, and then what they did was they made it where, no, that's not how you want to look, you know? But then white people the whole time, the Kardashians in particular, no, that is how I want to look. I want a big ass and plump lips and big fake titties because, now look, it's so bad where black women are going and getting fake asses and it's crazy.
Yep.
It's like you want to be like them, but secretly they want to be like you.
Right.
That's why I don't understand why people, they should be embracing voodoo. They should be listening. It's even the money. Like, that's why I talked about the economic base. If we don't have the economic base, as Dr. Clown Anderson teaches, if we have the economic base, you're not going to see that many race soldiers killing black people with impunity because now we have power. Now we can use that money as leverage. Now we can get people in and get people out of that Congress. Now we can have sustainable policies and laws for black folk, which means now we'll break up those police unions.
Well, there'll be black police unions.
And there'll be black police unions that'll be just as powerful, and
Right.
they don't want that.
Right.
Then we can say we don't want white people policing us. We only want black folk. Because you don't never really hear about black people on the police force just killing and shooting niggas.
No.
When black people are doing that on the police force, they're showing out in front of their white counterpart.
And they're not usually doing it. They're just usually like not saying shit about it. They're usually like kind of standing behind them or whatever, just because they feel like they're getting their money from the white dude and they can't really say shit.
Exactly.
So, yeah, they're not going out of their way to shoot black people though.
No, they not. That's why I think it's important. And what you say, so my last bill was due 28th, and I made a payment last week. And at the next one on the 28th, I did that last month. See, the reason why I'm glad she's saying that is because remember we had this conversation about another young brother and how I was telling everybody about the stock. Motherfucker ain't want to listen. Motherfucker ain't want to listen. Then his friends was laughing at him, and then he came back like, hey. It's like, I think black folk are more concerned with people who have materials, the aesthetics, the exterior monetary gain than the interior.
Warren has to own a mansion and drive a Bentley before we listen to him.
And it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's the truth. You don't know how many young black folk I done come across, and I'm like, hey, bro, I don't want you to be like me. Get you an IRA right now, bro. That's a tax write-off. You can get you an IRA, get you a traditional IRA, and get you a non-traditional IRA. Get you some mutual funds, get you some stocks, some bonds. You can go on treasury.net. Go get that stuff, man. If you get a mutual fund right now, if it has no front load, no back load, right? And you enter the mutual fund and you putting, let's say you put $50, $60, $70, $80 a month, whatever it is. You do that for 10 years, bro. You have 10 G's, 14, 15, 16, like what? But I get it. That's why I don't get offended by it. It doesn't bother me as much. Is because you can never say I didn't tell you.
Right.
That's why that person we talk about, he was upset. I told you. You didn't want to listen. For 2 years, you didn't want to listen. Right. And I told you. I said, hey, man, you want to get on this stock game? Get on this stock, man. It's very important. This is what makes the world go around, homie. If you want to get on, yeah, you can go get your Bitcoin and all that. And I want you to go do that. But make sure you are invested in stock, bonds, 401k, mutual funds, ETFs. Go get that, man. It is very imperative that you get that and build up your credit. It's not hard. I'm telling you, most black folk are under this impression that it takes an act of Congress to build up your credit. And then they're under this impression that you got to have hundreds of thousands of dollars to go buy a house. Right. And then you got to have thousands of dollars to go buy stock. It's crazy, bro. Right. And I'm not saying that young white folk don't think that. But the difference between young white folk and young black folk is young white folk are white. That's already their stock, bond, and 401k.
And not to mention, man, because I get that. There's a lot of poor white people that think the same shit. But they also still have a lot of, whether it's distant family that has bought a house.
Man.
They still have a lot more resources that they can go to find out that information.
And black folks cannot. And the black folk that are here, and no diss, and I love them, but they gonna tell you Jesus said it, and sing all these hymnals and spirituals and Negro spirituals. And I could be in church all day, but I can tell you this right now. I remember stock from my high school teacher in economics. The same one that my brother had, the same one that my sister had, Mr. Terry. That's where I remember stock from, because he looked me in my face and he told me, he said, you may not want to learn this right now, but years later, you are going to regret not paying attention in this class. And oh, do I regret that like a motherfucker. This when Amazon was $24 a share.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, less going to church, singing in the choir, and playing the drums and all this other shit, and more, okay, we can do that, but what are we doing after that? There should be classes and shit put in place for black folk so they can know how to deal with the real world, bro, because most black folk, in my personal opinion, especially ones I grew up with, they not really on no stock and no bonds. They waiting for their grandparents or their parents to give them something.
Right, and see, that goes back to the system wanting you to stay stagnant where you're at, right? You're sitting there hoping for Cesare and all these other motherfuckers to bless you with it when you could actually just go out and do it yourself, and you'll have a lot more fucking kickback from what it is.
Facts.
So yeah, man, that I don't know, man. When you put all your when you put all your eggs in one basket, there's a movie out there where the grandma's like, oh, Jesus Jesus gave me everything he gave me or whatever. And then, you know, at the end of the movie, it's basically like, oh, wait, no, you got everything because you're actually the one that went out and did everything you fucking set out to do.
Exactly. You have to magnetize it. You know I talk about that. That's why I don't give people books. I gave somebody a law of magnetism. Never got my book back. And after that, I was like, I'm never giving out books again because people don't respect it. And they don't. Well, my nephew I let him use Think Like a Millionaire by Dr. Claude, not Dr. Claude and Dr. Boyce Watkins. He actually gave me my book back. But besides him, shit, niggas won't give you know why? Because people don't sometimes respect things that they don't pay for. Now, sometimes people do. Sometimes people will treasure things they don't pay for because they like, man, this is a jewel. But some people don't. That's why my circle is the way it is. I don't really hang out with a lot of people because...
And if anything, man, like, the dude we're talking about, or anybody else, even me, when you're sitting there talking about all these books, you should actually want to go into it and be like, man, I can't wait to prove Warren wrong. Well, hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Because remember, I told him, hey, shout out to Dom, too, man.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Dom, man. Happy birthday, Dom.
Happy birthday, man.
Man. But, even I remember when me and you, Dom was talking. Dom was like, "Man, I'm like Dom. Don't even trip off that, bro. When look, you're talking to a nigga that didn't read for a long time, bro. I'm way older than y'all. And then all of a sudden, I was listening to podcasts and these dudes was talking about books, and I didn't like the way I felt. I didn't know what they was talking about. I was like behind. I was like, where the fuck am I doing? Yep. And then I just immersed myself in books. Now I feel a little bit better, but I don't. You know what made me feel good? These two dudes, they twins. Their names Red Pill and Blue Pill. They on this podcast with Brother Rich called Black Magic 363. It's dope ass podcast with Red Pill and Blue Pill. And I remember, I think it was Red or Blue was like, yeah, man, there's so much information, there's so much shit out there. He was like, somebody posting on Facebook about this brother Jeremiah Hamilton. I damn near fucking fell out my seat because I had read that book in 2017. And a lot of people hadn't read that book.
Right.
And he hadn't read it yet. And I was like, I can't believe I read a book that Blue Pill didn't read. Right. That made me feel like, see, that's, you know, what you was doing, you was putting in work.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't know about Jeremiah Hamilton. And some people do, but I read the whole book. I read the book in like a day and a half, almost 2 days. I read the whole book. I just stayed in my room. That was that time I told you I had read like 3 books in 1 week. Sometimes you get an overload because literally I just read all day, all night. I never watched TV. I just read, showered, read. I mean, literally read till I went to bed.
And not only that, but when you do that, you almost forget which book it came from. You're like,
man, exactly, man. Hey, I like Black Magic 363. Yeah, man. I always give it up to channels. Look, Professor Griff, I love his channel. Professor Griff reminds me of an uncle that don't tolerate the bullshit. That's why I like Professor Griff. He's dope. Dope. I like Black Magic 363 with Brother Rich. Brother Rich is a dope producer. He make dope ass beats. And to me, I feel like he's a conduit for knowledge. Like he's to me, he reminds me of the Merovingian a lot of the times because he has the knowledge, but what he does is he's the trafficker of information. So he can get the information and kind of like, because he be having, Brother Rich be having Blue Pill on there, Red Pill on there. Dr. Phil Valentine is he's so fucking dope. He be having Billy Carson on there. He just has a lot of dope information on there, bro. And his podcasts are just dope. And I like his channel. And what I like about what he does, I got a lot of that. I learned a lot from his channel because what he does is he doesn't prostitute his channel. That's why I told you when we take this on the road, nigga, I'm not finna be on it. I could do comedy because I'm a funny person. You saw that video, so I know if I really wanted to do it, I could do it. That's why I deleted those other videos because I know I could do it, but I don't want to do that. I want to do something that's impactful. The reason why I'm telling you that is because I'll never forget the day you was like, hey, man, I fucking read Black Labor, White Wealth, man. And I was like, you ready? You was like, yeah, man, that book is crazy. But what really tripped me out is when you was like, I read White Fragility. I read this book called White Fragility. I'm like, oh, yeah, I read that book by Robert DiAngelo. And you was kind of like, damn, this motherfucker, you read this book too? And you know what I liked is I felt like there was an impact on your thinking because I was like, man, just go read the book. And I'm going to tell you, you should be the template for a lot of other racial groups. We're not just talking about white people. Other racial groups, when you got black friends and black relatives and stuff like that, if you really want to know our struggle, go read books, man. Stop going on TV and watching Love and Hip Hop and watching this basketball and you thinking that's how black people are. Right. No, read the books. See what we have gone through. I'm talking about for those that really care about black folk and establishing a system of justice. I'm not talking about people that just, you know, they don't really care. They just read it like, then I'd rather you not read. I'm talking about the other racial groups that really want to establish a system of justice. I've been around other racial groups that they like you can see it in their eyes. If somebody mentions some racist shit about black people, them motherfuckers will be like, man, I don't play that shit. They'll nip it in the bud. I've been around people like that before where I had to be like, man, don't trip. Nah, fuck that. That's some racist shit and I don't like that shit. You know, and it's kind of shocking to you because every other racial group, including the dominant society, is where they got it from. They have done a great job at making black people feel bad for calling out racism. Mm-hmm. They've done a great job at, here you go. You see what I'm saying? Like
it's almost like a battered wife. Like the wife actually feels bad for getting her ass beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like for example, I was reading on the internet. Okay, this white woman, right? She's on this housewives show. I think it's the Atlanta Housewives, but she was the only white woman, and she was on the show with them. And one of the cast members basically called her racist. So she got on code with the white Jewish man who's in charge of the channel and said, give me a break about this racist shit. You know, they started claiming racism long ago and it wasn't really nothing. And now they're still talking about racism. Get over it. Because that's how you really felt. Mm. And then when it became public and the network was like, we're not renewing your contract. You're not going to have another show here. Right. Now you want to come out and apologize. Right. But you've always felt that way. Like Dog the Bounty Hunter. You know, Hawaiians don't like him at all. Right. No Pacific Islanders they can't stand Dog the Bounty Hunter at all. You know, him and his buddies got together and lynched a black person, right? Mm-mm. Yeah. And he got off. Yeah. They don't like black people. And then his son had a black girlfriend. Don't bring that nigger bitch around here. Nigger. Yeah, him. Hulk Hogan too. This is how cold the dominant society is. Hulk Hogan went on a nigger rant. They took his little money away. They kicked him out of the WWE. Then his white friends got together and said, hey, let's do a porno. Go fuck my wife. And then we're going to put it on a porno site. You can sue. He sued and got $20 million. Talking about they didn't have my permission to put that up there. But I watched a little bit of it. I went on porno. I said, oh, he knew what the fuck was going on. Nigga tried to act like he didn't know what the fuck was going on and all this other shit. You know why? Because I'm white. I'm part of the dominant society. And 99% of y'all feel the same way I feel about black people. But you guys want to demonize me? Well, I'm going to still get my money. And he still got his money. He's still rich. See what I'm saying? They just cut ties with him because it made their imagery look bad. But he still felt that way like Dog the Bounty Hunter. Oh, I'm good friends with Snoop and my pastor is black and all. That doesn't mean you don't still feel that way about black people. Right. I just think that black people under this disillusion, like, oh, he don't feel that way. Nah.
A lot of white people, man, they'll go buy Sean Johns, and because they got Sean Johns on, they ain't racist. You know what I'm saying? But what's up with why is everyone giving a pass to Justin Bieber? This motherfucker said this shit 10 years ago.
Yep. I ain't never liked Justin Bieber. I thought he was. Man,
go watch the video.
No, I always thought he was a culture vulture. I always thought he couldn't stand niggas, and I also thought that niggas protect him.
He has a song basically saying he wished he was in the KKK. Basically, is what he was saying.
Well, Eminem made a song about black women, calling them niggas and monkeys and ignorant bitches. Nobody ever said anything about that. Nobody. It's like it doesn't even exist. Right. And that's one of my biggest gripes. Why don't you apologize about any of that stuff? Why don't you do more for the black community? Stop giving them record labels. I mean, fuck a record contract. What are you doing for the black community, bro? Right. You made you would have never made any money being white singing rock. That's why Kid Rock had to go be in hip hop, because he wouldn't have got how many times have we talked about this? All I got to say is Pink. Right. That's all I got to say. That's what I get so sick of, every other racial group coming on our side and then they use us, and then when they get to where they want to get to, they do their own music. Well, then stay over there. Why you know why? Because to replicate our art form, which is called soul music, you're a god. Because every other racial group, they don't possess the law of rhythm. That you got to read this book called The Kabbalion. It's a very good book. I like to read it and take notes from it. It's the like the 7 or 8 hermetic principles or whatever. I can't really go into detail, but it talks about the law of rhythm, the law of cause and effect, and every other racial group in their DNA and their melanin, they don't possess the law of rhythm. That's why when it comes to soul music, this is just my belief system. That's why when it comes to soul music, especially back in the day, it was like a shock. They couldn't do it. They couldn't mimic it. They couldn't replicate it. Even now to this day, nobody can replicate Dre. And that's why Dre's so secretive about his shit. He don't want to invite people in because people will try to copy, bite his style. Look at Jay Dilla. Look at all these. Look at Timbaland. Look at the Neptunes. Look at all these producers who possess melanin, who have the law of rhythm. But think about it. Scott Storch, right? Jewish person, right? Mm-hmm. But where do you think he learned that from? He was in the roots. He had to be around black people. But you still can't replicate our algorithm. And I think that's what bothers a lot of white people. And that's why they come over to our side of the fence, try to replicate it as much as they can. But you notice they always got to have some type of black producer, black rapper, black something. Because they have to draw that power from somewhere. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. That's like, we are the routers of white people in our art form. What do you mean, Warren? We're the modem and the router pushing the Wi-Fi to you. Once you shut us down, you have no more leverage. Let's count it off. Justin Timberlake. You've been dealing with the Neptunes and Timbaland since 2001. You remove the Neptunes, you remove Timbaland. What has he done that's likable from even the dominant society? Right. Nothing. Right? You see how that works? Mm-hmm. If you removed Dr. Dre and you removed everything from Eminem, Eminem would just be another lost white rapper, bro. Right. That can rap. But who was behind him? That melanated brother, Dr. Dre. And we don't never get no credit. It's because it's such an anomaly to have a white person. And
then he snagged up 50 Cent, so it made him look, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at Bubba Sparxxx and Timbaland. You know what type of music Bubba Sparxxx is doing now?
No.
He's doing country rap music. What he probably would have been doing the whole time. And you remove Timbaland, you remove Missy. Nobody knows he exists. Nobody knows he's around. It's the truth. I'm not trying to be funny. It's the truth, bro. Our algorithm, our melanin, our law of rhythm. I feel like black people are the only people on this planet that naturally possess the law of rhythm. Because if that's the case, then everybody can, then you don't need, then Timbaland, the Neptunes, Swiss Beats, Dr. Dre, Teddy Riley, Roger Troutman, those people wouldn't exist. Right. It would be, Clive Davis. It'd be him.
What's the dude that did, the dude with the white dude with the beard?
Oh, Rick Rubin?
Rick Rubin,
yeah. You see how that turns out.
Right.
You know, you go listen to this music, you go listen to Dr. Dre's music.
Right.
You go listen to this music, you listen to Timbaland music. Fuck Rick Rubin. Right. That's black people giving him a pass because he's white and Jewish probably. But nigga, stop. Right. I don't wake up in the morning and be like, who produced that? Rick Rubin? No. Now, you might got my attention if you say Rick Rock. You know what I'm saying? But not Rick Rubin. But I feel that way. And that's why when you think about an economic base for us, you know what that means, Nick. That means, well, what do we need y'all for? We got our economic base. Now we can in-house everything. Now we can finance everything. We can have our own internet, which means you can't slow down the internet and take our videos down and do all this janky shit. Right. And imagine if we had our own billionaires boys club, then Nick Cannon can say whatever the fuck he want to say. And y'all can't demonize him and make him feel a certain type of way because we're watching black TV. No, we don't need to deal with that. You see what I'm saying?
And not to mention, man, the population will go up. I still do not understand how in 1750, black people made up 33% of the population, and now they make up 12.5%.
That's because Shawnee Brown, shout out to Shawnee, like Shawnee said, because that's a lie. And it's a misinterpretation of the population because that's what they like to do. If they can make black people feel like they are not
a big
part of the
Right.
United States of America, we'll think we're not a big part.
Right.
That's why if whoever wins the war tells the story. So they was beating the shit out of black people, so they get a chance to tell the story. But then there were amendments and sections. And within those sections, there were white people that was really telling what was going on. Those are the white people they don't like. That was really putting it out there like, oh, hold on, these motherfuckers is lying. This is what really happened. Black people invented this, black people invented that. Just like nobody talks about Big Ben. And I'm not talking about Ben Wallace. Big Ben is Benjamin Banneker. He built Washington, D.C. But motherfuckers be thinking Big Ben is Ben Wallace. That clock, Big Ben, they named it after Benjamin Banneker.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, these are just things we have to know. If we don't know our history, nobody's going to teach it to us but us. So we got to teach it. And any other ally, or you want to be one, then put your Jane Elliott, Tim Wise mentality away and start reading these fucking books and seeing how you could establish a system of justice, man. That would be my only suggestion. Man, we went way over today, bro. Hey, man, I appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Hey, Tasha, man, good looking out on that credit, man. Handle your business. I told you that shit was easy. Don't listen to these motherfuckers lying, talking about it's hard. That shit is easy. Hey, good looking out, 066. Hey, man, appreciate everybody listening, subscribing. Share this with anybody you know that's fucking with it. Hey, man, this is No I Don't Know. This is my boy, Nick. Permanent fixture in this motherfucker. Shout out to Nuke, too. Hey, man, we gonna have to get Shawnee on here one day and do a Zoom or some shit, man. But anyway, man, shout out to everybody that's out there, man. If you get a chance tomorrow, when I'm on tomorrow, I'm gonna talk more about like buck breaking. I got the DVD. I really don't want to open it. I want to stream it. I want it to be a collectibles item. But I'm gonna holler at y'all tomorrow, man. If you out here talking about you don't see color, guilty nigga. I don't fuck with you, man. We out. Peace.